Hey there, everybody. My name is Ameera and I am an Atlantean High Priestess and incarnated Myrrh being. I am also a transpersonal healer located out of the Pacific Northwest and Hawaii. And today I want to bring you the next edition of the Great Kingdom of Atlantis. Now, it's been a little while since I did an Atlantis video. And the reason for that is because I have been in Kauai on a retreat. So part of my journey, part of what I do for people is take them to the island of Kauai for ritual and ceremony and healing. And I just spent 2 weeks on the island with a lovely, lovely group. We did lots of wonderful things on the island. And so this message that is coming through me today to you is through the Myrrh beings. I am a channel for the Myrrh and Dolphin realm, and also through what Archangel Metatron has taught me about the higher self, the Oversoul, and Ascension. So when we talk about the higher self or talk about our Oversoul, most people, most of us have an idea that we have a higher self, that we have a higher self that's connected to God, that we are also connected to. And we're also told that we have many aspects of our soul or many aspects of our Oversoul that are happening at the same time that we are multidimensional beings. So what does that really mean to be, a multidimensional being? What does that mean for us? So how I like to explain the Oversoul or the higher self, and it's kind of a simplified explanation, but it works very well, because if you can make something simple, then people can understand it, right? So when I think of my Oversoul, I picture it like a sun. So I picture it like this great big golden beautiful luminescent sun that has all this energy and all this power and is just fully connected to the Godhead. So our Oversoul, our beautiful giant golden sun, has so much energy that it couldn't possibly show up in just one experience in one incarnation as as you or as me in this realm, because we just blow up. It's just too big. So what our Oversoul does, and the connection we have or the agreement we have with the Godhead, is that our Oversoul will send out many, many aspects or rays of light. So if you want to picture the different aspects of you going out as rays of light into all different corners of the universe, to different universes, cosmos, planets, even other incarnations that are happening on Earth show up in all these different realms as another version of you. So this is how we can explain ourselves as multidimensional beings, because we exist not only in this dimension, in this incarnation, but we exist simultaneously in all these other realms and planets and dimensions, because it's our Oversoul's desire to send off as many rays of light of itself as it can to gain experiences in all these other realms and all these other lifetimes. That's our agreement with God, to come get experience, information, and to bring that back up to the Godhead, or back up to our higher self. So for of all of our existence, through all of our existence as this Oversoul, we've had many, many different incarnations, not only on this earth plane, but incarnations in many other realms. So we know time is not linear. Time is not past, present, and future. So what does that really mean if you have a simultaneous aspect of yourself, or to be a multidimensional being, and to be having all these lifetimes happening simultaneously? Simply what that means is that time is in a spiral. So if you want to just picture like a spiral of time happening, and you're somewhere in this existence on the spiral of time, but then there are many, many layers to the spiral of your Oversoul, and you also exist here and here and here and here. And so there are these multiple aspects of yourself, and I really can't even tell you how many aspects of our being come from our oversoul, because I don't know. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. But through all the existence of your oversoul, there have been many, many, many different aspects of you showing up into these different versions of reality as you. So I work as a past life regressionist, and part of my work as a past life regressionist is to take people into these other aspects of their being. Typically, when people come to me for what we call a regression, I like to explain to them we're not really going into the past. We're going into a lifetime that is happening at the same time this lifetime is happening. We're visiting another version of you that is going on at the same time as you, and there may be something going on in that lifetime that is a reflection of what's going on in this reality. And we can go in and visit, and those other personalities, be those other personalities, see through their eyes and find out what might be happening in that reality that's affecting this one. So that's the main purpose of what I would call a past life regression or regression therapy. And then, so the beautiful thing, and what Metatron has explained to me about the other aspects of our being is sometimes these other aspects of our being, when they pass from that reality, or even when there's something going on, when they're existing in that reality, they don't finish, they don't complete themselves and go back up to the Godhead. So we can become what's called an Earthbound Spirit, or a spirit that is trapped between this dimension or whatever dimension that we lived in at that time, and has not returned back to our oversoul for healing. And so if you're an earthbound spirit, then you're kind of trapped between dimensions. And one of the most beautiful parts of going into this other lifetime, we can do it through meditation, we can do it through shamanic journeying. One of the greatest things about having all these tools is that we are now able to go into and consciously reach these other aspects of ourselves that have unfinished business or that have trauma and need to complete themselves and go back up to the oversoul, back up to our higher self. So when I help people through regression therapy to reach these other aspects of themselves, and we find healing and completion for them, and they're able to take that experience and that completion back up to the oversoul, what Metatron says is happening is that we are strengthening the aspect of ourself on this timeline and on the other timelines that are still, going on and still relevant. We are completing and finishing up and healing these other lifetimes so that we can move into this process called Ascension. So Ascension is about us raising our vibration. It's about us becoming more consciously aware of ourselves as multidimensional beings and being to hold higher levels of light than we have previously. So the reason that we don't always remember these other aspects of ourselves consciously, the reason we haven't, up until maybe this time where we're all becoming higher in vibration, is because it would mess with what we're doing here, with what we're doing right now. It would in the past, it would have been very hard for us, or very easy for us to become confused by noticing or remembering or feeling all these other aspects of our soul happening at the same time. So now, as we are growing in our consciousness and our vibration, we are able to recognize ourselves consciously as well as subconsciously as multidimensional beings. And when we heal these other aspects of ourselves, when we complete them, what that does is allow you and your expanded awareness to become more of yourself, to become more fully yourself, to hold more light from the Godhead, from your oversoul. And that is one of the most important and valuable parts in the ascension process, is to be able to hold more light, to allow our physical body and our cells and our DNA to be able to hold that light without, combustion, and without that problem in our psyche, or that, situations in our psyche that come up and say, I feel myself here and I feel myself here. So, now as we are all becoming so much higher in our light, we are able to experience ourselves as 3D, 4D, and 5D beings in this reality at the same time. We begin to notice or know consciously that we exist in other realms that sometimes those other parts of our soul, those other aspects of us, come to us, and they ask us for help. They ask us for guidance, and they are guiding us in this realm. So many of us are transmuting karma for our other aspects of our being in this incarnation. So one of the best ways to transmute karma, and one of the best ways to raise up our vibration, is to come and have this earth experience, because it's pretty dense here and we can do a lot of learning in a really short period of time. So as we are gravitating towards these other tools, like regression therapy and shamanic journeys and meditation and all these great things that are helping us to elevate and ascend, we are completing and releasing the karma for many of these other aspects of our being. We don't need to have those experiences anymore. We don't need to hold all that karma and all that density and all these many, 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 many rays of existence. We can send some of those back up for completion. And so you and I are doing this now, because if you are here on this earth at this time, you are here to ascend. And the level or the speed that you ascend at is really not what's important. What's important is that you recognize yourself as a being who is here to remember the law of one, to remember the one heart of the divine. And one of my soul purposes is to be a conduit between the Myrrh world and Atlantis, and Myrrh Lantis, I call it, and this reality, and help people to remember that we were all once part of this great spiral of time, this community known as Atlantis. And if you know anything about Atlantis, Atlantis fell. Because of the ego and the technology and the people who forgot their connection to source, people who were in a 3D body with 5D consciousness. So we are all here, the great priests and priestesses of Atlantis, the great community of Atlantis, to heal that spiral of time that we are now upon, where some of these same things are starting to or trying to happen again. So instead of Atlantis, or instead of this planet falling again into dissolution, into ruin and destruction, we are instead going through the reverse. We're going through this amazing ascension process. We're actually changing our soul's history and the planetary history. And when I talked to Metatron about this, our conscious awareness of this, a connection to Atlantis and Lemuria, and the connection to the fairy realm, and all these other realms, all these other planets and existences that we are in simultaneously, is now we can take on that knowledge. We can take on not only the mental, the mental thinking that we are that, but that spiritual information and that emotional information without it, blowing us up. So part of my soul agreement, part of the way I do this is through regression therapy, and through something called the Sacred Touch of Atlantis, which is an energy healing through the Andara crystals, which are Atlantean and Lemurian. The other way I'm doing this is I am a conduit for the energy of the island of Kauai. So I take groups there, I take people there personally also to Kauai, to that island, to heal on the land, which is the heart of Lemuria. I bring Atlantis and Lemuria, that masculine and feminine combination. I help people to merge that within themselves and to activate their DNA to those great lands and those great remembrances of their soul, of who we are. We all have these great souls with these amazing experiences. So I take people to Kauai to help them with that. My next retreat is going to be in December. If you're watching this video right now, it's October 2015, and the first part of December, I'll be taking a small group back to the island for individual and collective healing, and then I will continue to do retreats on the island of Kauai for on and on and on. So if this message has helped you or resonate with you anyway, just know that every time you heal an aspect of yourself, or you bring completion to something in your life in this reality, you are actually helping yourself to hold more light, to hold more love, to hold a higher vibration, and eventually travel up into that fifth dimensional, full ascension energy, where we can enjoy ourselves, the love and the life that we dream of, that energy, that anchoring, that foundation into this beautiful earth, holding that, but also holding that space of 5D love and light to, to the divine and to the cosmos. Thank you all for watching this video. You can find me at ameerabeth.com. Please feel free to reach out to me on Facebook if you have any questions. You can find me under Ameera Beth Transpersonal Healer. And I wish you all oceans of love from the heart of the sea. Namaste.